Hey everyone, Kingsdown Kits here. We're going to check out how the mums are doing and their babies. We're going to check out how the rest of the ferrets are doing in our ferretry and what's happened this week. And as usual, we're going to answer a few of your questions. So let's get started. Mushroom here, she's in top health and she is performing very well as a mum. Unfortunately for her body, she doesn't quite have enough kits, and her tummy and her teats are always extremely full of milk. So having 5 kits doesn't take away as much as she's producing. Although having 5 kits is obviously far easier to manage. But other than that, her physical and her mental behaviour is very good. She's quite a chilled mum, but she does what she needs to do and she's very good at it. So Cookie's continuing to be a bit of a pain because she's not eating on her own. She's too obsessed with the babies, and so she doesn't pop out to get her food and drink. So at the moment, I'm still 2 weeks on having to hand feed her. You can see that she's rather skinny, which is not particularly unusual for a nursing Jill. They do and can get quite thin. She's lost a little bit of weight, but she's sort of stabilised at quite a low weight, with especially with the hand feeding we're doing. We are also giving her some carnivore care to supplement her food and boost the protein and nutrient intake. This is just a supplement soy mix with all minerals and vitamins in it, and you just scoop the somewhat damp powder out and mix it with water, and you get a sort of a double cream type texture, and they absolutely love it. Well, Cookie here absolutely loves it, but we try and mix in her 80-10-10 raw meat mix into it to make sure that she's eating quite a varied diet. Whilst the hand feeding is annoying and quite time consuming, we are managing her weight, and perhaps if I just leave her to it, she might drop a little bit of weight and get to a certain point when she does get hungry and eat on her own. So that'll be the next step over this week, I guess. The other bit of news with Cookie is, unfortunately, she has come back into season, and this is a real problem. And that is because her body has decided that she does not need kits anymore, or at least the ones that she has are no use, and she wants more different ones. And so what will typically happen is that the body has sent signals to go back into season, and it would typically also be accompanied with a cessation of the milk production. Now, that clearly is catastrophic for the current kits, and we have to plan for that. At the moment, her milk production is still good, and they are putting on weight as we would expect, but it could slow down and stop at any time. We have a couple of opportunities. One might be to foster the kits onto Mushroom, and she could feed them, and we would need to... They couldn't all be put together because her kits are much bigger and they would just bully the others out of the way. And so we would need to give them feeding time in phases, certain time for Cookie's kits and certain time for her own kits. The other option would be to bottle or hand feed the kitten milk ourselves. The kits are 2 weeks old, and for now our hope is that she continues with the milk and it doesn't get interrupted at least till 3 or 4 weeks old, and then they start introducing them to solid food and the milk becomes less important. Okay, let's have an update on Mushroom's litter. She's got 5 kits, and these guys are now 3 weeks old and coming in at around about 130 grams. As you can see, the colours are pretty firm now in terms of the 4 darker sandies and the 1 lighter sandy. These 4 darker ones are all the Angoras, full Angoras, and the one on the end here, the lighter one, she is a semi-Angora. These guys are very much still blind, and we expect their eyes to open in about 10 days or so's time. They're becoming to get a little bit more mobile, and as you can see, now is the time when they would be interested in trying some food. This guy is even trying to give me a little lick and a nibble. So we'll put some food out and we'll see how they go. They are now doing a little bit of moving, but not too much, and it's easy for Mum to keep them under control. this will accelerate quite rapidly over the next 10 days or so, and they'll be scooting around causing mayhem. As you'd expect with only 5 kits, they're very well fed and therefore nice and chunky and pretty quiet a lot of the time because they've got full tummies. Okay, let's give them some of this 80-10-10 mix. I've just chopped it up really finely to get rid of the lumps, taking the bones out, and see how they get on. Try more. Oh, got it all over you. Got it all over you. I'm eating it now. One on the end is definitely not interested. The success for enoki, for shiitake, oyster's pretty hungry. You had a little bit, you've stopped. You might be portobello. This is what happens in the early days. They get pretty much covered in it, which is fine because Mummy will clean it all up. They also have tiny little appetites at this stage, which is fine. So they eat about that much and that's it. So it's actually a good sitting. Quite happy with that for week 3, first ever feed. Right, I think it's time to give you a quick clean up before you go back to Mum. Oh. Got it all over here. Let's now take a look at Cookie's litter. She's got 4 little kits and they are now 2 weeks old and weigh around 75 grams. Again, these guys are progressing well, developing as we would expect and hope. Darker colours of the sable ones becoming more pronounced every day and therefore making this little silver Jill stand out that bit more than she did at the start. At this stage there isn't much going on with these kits, just drinking and sleeping. So other than their size, there's not an awful lot more to update at this stage. So you may remember that Binky here had a phantom pregnancy this season, and after that she had been quite obsessively mothering her kit from the previous year, Jelly, chasing Jelly around and trying to drag her to a nest at every point, and generally just causing Jelly a bit of a hassle. Whilst that is still going on, it's to a much lesser extent, thankfully, but just to add to Binky's problems, she is now back in season. So we need to try and sort her out with finding either a vasectomized hob or choosing whether we're going to implant her this year. Poor little Binks, it's just all go for you at the moment, isn't it? As for the rest of the gang, no real changes. They're all pretty much chilling out at the moment, enjoying the warmer weather that's on the way. And continuing their molt from their winter coat into their summer coats. Rumble here, really loving his new walkway system. He's spending an awful lot of time running around and playing in that new zone. Look, you boy. So he's pretty happy. Elsewhere in the Ferretry, the grove is going through a real transformation, as the spring weather is really bringing out an explosion in the plant life. Okay, let's move on to some of this week's questions. First one, Katsiuma Bukhara 2559 asks, I'm very curious, having so many, how do you separate the implanted or neutered ones from the intact ones in the living area? Well, separation only really needs to happen for the intact hobs. When the hobs are in season, they pretty much need to be separated from anybody, whether that is male or female. And so they just need to live on their own, and we have a separate area sectioned off where the intact hobs live, and each of those intact hobs will live on their own in that area, separated within that area. Intact gills can happily live with out-of-season hobs or with neutered gills, all in a big group. There's no issue there. So our intact hob area has lots of areas which can be individually separated or opened as one big whole thing. Next question, Heartrose 1967 asks, how much longer until Mushroom's kit's eyes and ears open? So Mushroom's kits are 3 weeks old, and eyes open usually in the 4 to 5 week stage. So it's a good week and a half to 2 weeks until that happens. But from about 3 weeks, their ears should start to open. So we'll see that come very shortly. Vanessa Talbot 1, they stink so badly, how do you control that? Well, you don't really. You just have to accept that ferrets have a musk. If you think they stink that badly, then they're not the pet for you. You can't really do much about it. You just have to work with it. Obvious actions such as changing the bedding often, making sure the litter trays are emptied a couple of times a day will manage the smells. Lily Clover asks, does it stress the mum out when you are taking the babies away? Yeah, it kind of does. I mean, obviously, they are pretty obsessed with their babies, and when you take them away or you move them, then they're not overly happy about it. So when we take them away to give them checkups and to weigh them, we tend to take the gills away at the same time, put them back in this main enclosure so they can have some time out, visit their friends, have a bit of exercise, and they don't sit there with an empty nest wondering where all their babies are. And guess who? Stacey's mom asks, how did you build your outside cage? I really want to do the same for my ferret, but I have no idea how to make it safe and escape proof. Well, we just so happen to have a decent video on the building of this outdoor enclosure as well as the building of the outdoor grove. So check those videos out, cards on screen, if you want to have more information on that. Thanks for watching, and remember, if you do have any questions, pop them in the comments below and we'll do our best to answer them in the next episode. But for now, bye-bye.